Have you ever wondered why professional athletes get injured in the beginning of a season? Or why they suddenly commit an error in such a basic skill in their sport? Would you say that it was because of an opponent? Or worn equipment? Have you ever wondered about what an athlete goes through during rehabilitation? Do you think they easily comply with treatment? Maybe as a spectator, you'd think that they should, and they would for the sake of the team or fans. But what really goes on in an athlete's mind during rehab? What are the factors that would lead to such unthinkable injuries for high-profile athletes? In this video, we'll talk about the factors that lead and are caused by psychology and athletic injury. Let's find out what goes on in an athlete's mind when it comes to injury and rehabilitation.
Starting from the left-hand side of the model, a potentially stressful situation can contribute to injury depending on how threatening the athlete perceives the situation to be. Should he or she find it threatening, state anxiety increases, which would eventually cause changes in performance. One of the first psychological factors found to be associated with athletic injuries is personality. To date, investigators have not successfully identified particular personality characteristics associated with athletic injuries, but this does not mean that personality is not related to injury rates. In fact, there have been evidence that show that personality factors such as optimism, self-esteem, hardiness, and trait anxiety do play a role in athletic injuries. Another factor is stress level. Stress levels have been identified as important antecedents of athletic injuries. Research has proved in so many ways that stress level is directly proportional to injury incidence, regardless of the type or amount of stress an individual experiences. The simple frustration of getting stuck in traffic can drastically alter the possibility of injury rate. Stress disrupts an athlete's attention by reducing peripheral attention. A football quarterback under great stress might be prone to injury because he does not see a charging defender rushing from his side. High stress can also be accompanied by increased muscle tension that interferes with an athlete's normal coordination. A stressed volleyball player might go stiff during a game, lowering his or her reaction time and performance. Bottom line is, if you increase the stress and you mix them up with factors shown in the diagram, you might end up with an injury.
With injury comes the grief response process, where the athlete undergoes 5 stages: grief, anger, bargaining, depression, and finally, the acceptance of injury. It is in these stages that psychological skill interventions are essential. It is important for both therapists and athletes to be knowledgeable of the importance of social support, stress control, imagery, relaxation, and other goal-setting beliefs and practices, as it is practically mandatory for athletes to undergo rehabilitation programs. Studies have shown that these psychological factors affect recovery, reactions, and adherences to treatment protocols. Hence, it is important for the athlete's social support, family, and friends to build rapport with one another, all the while educating the athlete about the injury and recovery process. Essentially, for complete recovery, both physical and psychological aspects of injury rehabilitation must be considered. And there you have it, Anderson and Williams' model of stress and athletic injury.